Hello pilots and welcome to another Eve Echoes video. I'm Gromeyer and I am here out in the field with the Fiend once more. Now my original goal with this was to separate it into three parts. Part 1 would be the build, part 2 would be dueling and testing it out, and part 3 would be actual combat, but I ended up finding so many fights that I decided to just go straight into part 2 combat, and then part 3 we'll maybe change up the build and try something different. So we're out here in SRN space looking for some ships, and I happened across a miner in an asteroid belt. Now, most of the time with only 3 mid slots, it would be really hard to lock these things down. A lot of times they carry extra warp stability, they have warp stability on their nanocore, and they're just quick to warp back to the Citadel. But as you can see here, we have our disruption bubble. So one of the huge advantages of the Fiend here is being able to lock down the ship. He cannot warp away, and we just get free reign to go to town on him. Now you'll notice it takes me a little bit to build up my DPS here. That's because I'm using the Focus Crystal implant. I kind of want to try out the Pulse implant just because it has that extra burst right when you first land on the target, which I think could be really good for fighting smaller ships. I have the Focus Crystal built up because most of the time I'm going to be trying to fight battleships, but Pulse Crystal really does intrigue me for the burst DPS, similar to how the Bombard has burst DPS in it. But we'll start this video out easy, getting into the fights here. Always like to start off with a mining ship. Not great for the loot, but good practice, and it gets us kind of that adrenaline and the jitters out of your hands. Alright, so lightning is down. We're going to check his loot. We're going to see if he has anything special. Usually it's just some strip miners and some drones. Nothing great, but I always like to pick up what I can since I'm spending so much time out here anyway. Okay, so we'll leave the ore behind. We'll get the debris. We'll get the stabilizer and the strip miner. Okay, on to the next target. Okay, so we've scanned down a Raven Navy issue at this anomaly, and I'm going to use the 2x speed on this because these fights last forever. These ships are incredibly tough and durable and hard to take down quickly. Okay, so we'll do our best here to commentate in fast forward, pretty much. I'm going to be landing about 70 kilometers away from this Raven Navy, which isn't ideal. Our warp disruption bubble only goes out to about 27, so I'm going to have to burn to him as quick as I can and hope he doesn't warp away in time. I was hoping he was more of a long range fit, but looks like we got a close-up large rapid missiles here, so we'll lock him up. He's disrupted. He's not going anywhere now that he's inside my bubble, so as long as we can take him down here, we'll maintain our orbit nice outside of his web range, and we'll try and see if we can DPS him down. Okay, so one of the difficulties of dealing with missile ships is they're always going to be applying that damage to you. It's not going to be great, but it's a guaranteed hit, pretty much. So I have my NOS and I have my large shield just in case he does get the damage going on us. And since this is a shield tank ship, we should be doing pretty good damage with our EM once our implant gets up to the max. Yeah, right now I'm sitting at about 38% bonus. I'd like to bump up that implant if I can to get a higher max, but for right now that's all we got. I think we're dealing with about 1100 total DPS without the heat sink activated. So at this point he's locking onto us. You can see him yellow boxing there. We're only about 1/4 into his shield, so this is going to be a long fight if I can even get him down. The good news is that he doesn't have a large newt. He only has 2 NOS and a target painter, so we should be doing pretty good. We have our afterburner, not a micro warp drive, so we're going to be a smaller target to hit. And if we can keep this speed up, his missiles will have a harder time doing damage to us because the explosion velocity is going to be so large. So just past half his shields right now. We are taking a little bit of damage and we're about half capacitor, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. I don't mind fighting at low capacitor because I know that I need a lot less than he does, and I can suck him dry with my large NOS much better than he can probably. Okay, so now that we know that we're doing pretty good damage, we're going to want to watch that top left corner there where it says how many allies and how many reds are in our grid, and we're going to watch and see if somebody jumps in. I don't want to take a 2 versus 1 simply because I'm out in the middle of space, and this ship does not do good once it's pinned down, once it's webbed or locked down at all. So we want to try and watch out for any enemies warping in. I think at this point it's kind of a stalemate right here. I have a small advantage on him, so I'm slowly wearing down his shield. I think we can do pretty good once we get into armor because he's not going to have armor resist, but my weapon type is EM damage, so it's going to do a lot less damage once we get down there too. Okay, but you can see even with the missiles, he is not doing very much to us. We did activate our Dragon Nanocore, so it unlocked us from him real quick, but he's able to pretty quickly lock us back up, so it's not too much of an advantage. I was actually hoping the extra DPS would put us into his armor, but these Navy battleships are just so tough. I briefly thought about turning off the afterburner here so that I could regain some capacitor, but I'm a little bit worried about the NPCs locking me down. I don't want to get webbed. I don't want to get in range of a web because it's going to slow me down. It's going to allow him to apply more damage to me. So I'd rather just keep that afterburner on and keep burning him. Hopefully he's running out of cap. Looks like he's yellow boxing right now. So he's low on capacitor. I'm getting a little low on capacitor. We're going to see who can outlast the other one right now. Okay, heat sink is back up. Let's keep putting the pressure on him. See if we can get him down into armor. I really want to see how well this ship does once we get rid of its shield resistance here. Again, you can see him yellow boxing. He's having trouble with capacitor. We know we're wearing him down over time. We'll lock on to these other NPCs and just see what he's doing with them. They're still close to full health, so it looks like he's directly trying to target us. I am going to switch my large NOS pretty soon to one of the NPCs just because I think that they probably have more capacitor than he does. But if they're not going to be in absolute optimal range, it doesn't really matter if I do that. So quickly put it on the battleship and then realize that that's probably not the best idea. Raven Navy still having issues with locking us, keeping his capacitor up. We're going to switch our NOS back as we're at 3%. Okay, keeping him pretty low. We are taking some extra hits here, so I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the NPCs targeting us now. But we are getting him down, and it is looking pretty good. Just a massive tank from this Navy issue battleship. We'll put some more pressure on with the heat sink here. Yeah, we're still just barely over our threshold in the capacitor. We're not hitting 0 though, so that's the important thing. We are still able to maintain our orbit and keep around 10%. If I had more DPS, I might take out the NPC rats here and see if a new wave spawns on him just to get some extra help, but I don't think I could take down those battleships faster than I could take down this player. Okay, looks like he's tired of trying to hit me. He is hitting the battleships now. So we'll see if a new wave spawns here. If he can spawn it, and it's not the last wave that we're on, then we might get some extra help here. Nah, he's changed his mind. He's not going to clear this wave. He probably is worried about the next wave spawning as well. And we got a +1. What is it? Let's just get out. I'm out.
I'm out.
What?
That's it?
That's
Seriously. You got to read the room.
Now, this is a small ship. I probably could have approached it and tried to take it out, but I'm worried about it webbing me and locking me down and kind of orbiting me out here in open space. I'm not built for that. I'm built for orbiting battleships, not frigates. So we'll take that as a draw. Good fight in local, and we'll move on to our next battle. Okay, back home in Delve, and I'm on my way to go do some PvP south, but we have a couple reds in local here, so I'm going to go ahead and guard this gate. One of the reds warps out, but we still have one here, and we have a friendly Dominix that's going to be on the gate with me. There he is. Okay, let's get him. He's inside our bubble. Let's approach with our afterburner on and try and keep him inside and see if we can burst this down. Okay, he is going to try and escape my bubble here. He's going to try and pull distance, but we are pretty quick with that afterburner. He has his extender. That's going to go down fast. Looks like the Dominix isn't locked on. Let's keep in range. And 1 or 2 more hits here. He's getting out. Just in time. So that was a fairly quick arbitrator. I think he could have pulled range from us if he had enough time, but because I'm only 27 kilometers on this bubble and he was about 23 away, but we were able to lock him down just enough with the assistance of the battleship. So good fight there. Okay, let's head on over to Aquarius and check out Meow territory. We've got a couple people in local here. Let's scan it down, see what we have. 1 glowing light on a fleet rally point. Let's go ahead and analyze that, see what's ratting. And a Nidhogger. Okay, let's go ahead and warp to it at 100. He's probably at a long range, so we can try and warp to him again and just see if he's asleep and take him out. And if he warps away, then we'll just see if there's any capital debris to pick up. I'm really only doing this because there's not a lot of people in local. It is late at night, so it's an off time. If it was highly populated local, it would be a lot more risky because there's a chance of some guard ships around him, but I think we might be able to catch him solo out here. Okay, so we're landing 100 kilometers out. Doesn't look like he's here. He might have taken off as soon as we hit local. So we'll go ahead and double click into space here. Align to that planet and turn on our afterburner, and we should have enough defense to where we can just pull range on this capital anomaly. Yeah, there's only one person in local here, so we should be pretty safe to check and see what the wrecks are. And you can see we have wrecked Revelation, wrecked Archon, so we do have some capital debris possibly that we can pick up. So we're going to get a good range, set ourselves a bookmark, just like we would on normally running it PvE wise, and we're going to try and warp in, and I'll show you a little trick how I warp in and grab them. I wanted to include this just in case anybody's curious on how to do this. Get in range, you need to be at least 150 kilometers out away from the box, or sorry, away from the debris in order to loot it, in order to warp to it. So we'll go ahead and maintain our range. Get out here at about 250. Okay, so after 250 kilometers, the NPCs will de-lock you. They won't lock you anymore. They won't be able to target you. So we want to make sure we set our safe bookmark out at least 250 kilometers away from the ships. And what I like to do is organize my bookmarks in order of closeness, in order of distance, so that we have our point that we just set as close as possible and easiest access. So we'll go ahead and set that as our autopilot bookmark, and then we'll find a wrecked Revelation or wrecked Archon, and we're just going to go ahead and hit loot, and it's going to warp our ship to it because we're more than 150 kilometers out. The thing to be careful of here is you really have to time it. So as soon as that loot box opens up, you want to hit your autopilot on the left hand side there. So pop up loot, hit autopilot, and just grab the debris, hit loot, and your ship will warp away. Now if you have enough inertia, and that's one of the reasons why I put that inertia mod, the polycarbon rig on this ship, is so that I can warp away quicker. It has to be at least, I want to say 4.2 seconds max, otherwise these ships are going to lock you down and spike you. But yeah, when the capital ship, when the Nidhogger warps off, we have pretty much free reign here, now that we've set this bookmark, to go ahead and warp in, wait for the loot box to appear, hit our autopilot, and grab that debris. And we should be relatively safe, as long as our ship can warp off quickly. Okay, debris, and ship's already warping. I also like to pause the autopilot once we start warping back, just so that my bookmark doesn't disappear, and I don't have to reset it. There you go. Wrecked Archon. If you're in an even faster ship, you can actually do this with the enemy carrier present. It's just a little bit more risky, especially if they have their scan resolution activation turned on. But this is pretty much what usually happens. You enter local, the cap ship pilot warps off for safety, and you just get free reign over the loot. The important part is just to maintain watching local, make sure there isn't a spike of people that are coming in to get you, make sure you have your timing down, don't warp in and loot too quickly, otherwise your ship will just be sitting there. I think I do that on this one. Yeah, see right there, I hit the autopilot before the loot box popped up, so it's going to automatically start our warp away before we can grab that loot. So you want to make sure that the loot box pops up real quick and then hit autopilot, otherwise you won't actually loot the wreck. And the slower your ship is, the quicker you have to be with this loot. You can't do this in like a battleship or a battle cruiser. You really can only do it in cruiser and below because of the warp away time. Oh, and that's really nice. Apparently he's giving us permission to go ahead and do this. Take his debris. I am welcome to do it, so that's nice to know. He's not going to engage us. That's just really, you know, a friendly player. I like to encounter players like that in the game. Another debris here. I think we're almost done because I don't think he finished this entire thing. So we'll double check all of the wrecks here and make sure there isn't any capital ships that are white and not gray. If it's grayed out, that means I've already looted it. So I'm not too worried about those. I can't loot the boxes because the anomaly is not finished. So yeah, I think we're done here. So not too bad. I think it was around about 200 million in debris. Not too shabby considering I didn't have to do anything. Let's double check here. Yeah, about 200, I think, because the filaments cost, you know, roughly 10 million each at this time. So not bad. And we'll go ahead and warp to a safe place and continue on our way. Maybe drop this off at an NPC trade center or something. Oh, he's still talking. Okay, he's gonna say goodbye. Let's see what he has to say. Love the translate feature. Be careful not to choke. Oh, see, he's really looking out for my well-being. Like, it's very rare that you encounter these kind of players where they're just really worried about your safety while you're taking their stuff. So, you know, kudos to him. Really appreciate the kind words.
Sarcasm? You think?
For now, on to the next fight. All right, we're scanning down another battleship in an anomaly. We have an Apocalypse Navy issue. So we're gonna try and orbit him outside of his web range, just like we did the Raven, but this should be a little bit easier because he has large lasers, so they're gonna be harder to track us. With the missiles, they're pretty much always gonna be guaranteed to do a little bit of damage, but I think if we can orbit this thing fast enough, he's not gonna hit us at all. So I'm not too worried about capacitor in that regards, as long as he doesn't have a large nuke. What I am a little bit worried about is the amount of people in local, so we're gonna have to keep a really close eye on that top left here and make sure that nobody else warps in. We don't want to get caught fighting this guy. Okay, bubble up. His shield is low already, so that's great. That's a great head start for us, but it probably means he's not shield tank, he's armor tank, which is going to be bad. Because we are doing almost, I think 100% EM damage, it's really not going to be good for armor. So that's going to be one of the main drawbacks for fighting with the Fiend, is the EM damage is rough. If I had thermal damage with a railgun ship, I think I could handle both. And I know when I was using my Arbitrator 3, I would use a mixture of drones. I would use EM drones and thermal drones and then switch them, hopefully, if I remembered, once I get into the enemy's armor here. But that we don't have that luxury with the Fiend. So we'll just do the best we can here. We are winning the fight because he is going lower and I don't think he can hit us. I also don't think he's locked us at all. He might, you know what, he's still ratting. He might just be AI ratting, which means he's probably not calling for help. So this could be a good fight. We'll see if anybody else catches on in local to my little battle here. But yeah, for now, it looks like he's just AI ratting like nothing else has changed. I know with the AI ratting that it doesn't target enemies, so I'm pretty safe here as long as he doesn't lock me. Once I start seeing that yellow box, I jinxed it. Once we start seeing that yellow box, you know he's gonna lock us and we have to watch out for any large neutralizers that he might be using, okay? So red box here. So he is trying to hit us, but I don't think he's gonna have a chance. We are orbiting outside of web range, outside of scram range, and we're going really fast. I wanna say around 27, almost 2,800 kilometers on our orbit, so it's going to be very hard for him to hit us. We're also using an afterburner instead of a micro warp drive, which means that our signature radius is going to be smaller, so it's going to be even more difficult for him to track. All right, I pop my heat sink, try and put a little extra pressure on him. We are wearing him down over time, and he's already yellow boxing. Now he's back to red. Okay, I don't really know why he's switching back and forth, but we do have our Dragon nanocore to get away if we need to. I don't think he can get within web range anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. The thing I am worried about is another ship dropping on me, or like a Stratios or an Astero. If that locks me down, I am in deep trouble. So we'll keep our eyes peeled, and we'll have our hand hovering over that nanocore ability. On a positive note, local list is dropping, is depopulating, so it's a little bit more comfortable with the numbers here. But he is actively... Oh my god. Capital ship, everybody run. Warp away. Oh, we gotta take down this bubble. Oh, I gotta get rid of my bubble. I can't warp myself until I get rid of this bubble, and there's a timer on it. Approach, approach, approach. Okay, down. Now we can get out of here. Okay. Well, at least we live to fight another day. Good fight, and we'll move on to the next battle. All right, back here on my home turf, we have a Celios wandering in our area, so we're going to try and bubble up this gate and catch him as he warps through. We're going to have to be quick, and we're going to have to zoom in and try to approach and lock on before he cloaks up, because this is a stealth ship. Very similar to how I run the Arbitrator 3. You have to get them quickly, and you have to be on top of them. Otherwise, they're going to get outside your bubble and cloak up. So here we go, right here. Let's approach. We target the wrong one. We targeted the wrong ally. Let's approach the Celios. He's getting a little, and he's cloaked. Okay, so we missed there. Swing and a miss. We'll continue to try and track him. I have an idea of where he's going, so we're gonna try that out. Let's drop our bubble and head towards another gate and see if we can catch up to him on the other side. So he's been called out in the system next door, so we're gonna head over there. Maybe we can catch him on the gate if he's fighting anybody. Let's warp through, see if we can catch up a little bit. He might be scanning down targets. He might be taking his time, so we'll see if we can surprise him. Yep, still in ZXP. So we'll come through here. Hopefully he's on the gate. If not, we'll head to the next gate and we'll set up our bubble and try and catch him on that warp in. Alright, so he's already out of this system. We know this is a one-way ticket, so we're going to go ahead and over to the next system up and see if we can catch up a little bit. Yep, there's somebody else calling him out in Y2. If they can engage him and slow him down, I might be able to catch up and help out. The advantage that these cloak ships have is that they can pretty much pick and choose when they're going to fight. So if they see an easy target, a good one-on-one, they can engage him and usually burst him down before you can catch up to it. So let's hope we can engage, and let's hope we can use our bubble to our advantage. That is the one advantage that the Fiend has over all these other ships that are chasing. So we'll see if that works out. Let's head into the next system over. Looks like we have some other allies coming in. Jump through. And the local list doesn't populate as early as it does before. That's a little disappointing, but we will see it come up as soon as we warp in. And yep, he's right here. Let's approach. We want to put up our bubble as soon as we can so he can't warp away. Let's get on top of him, get that web, put our shields on, and he took down the Cnal that was attacking him. So we got a 1 versus 1 here. He is low health, so this should go pretty quick. I think I've got him webbed, and he can't warp away. So if we can turn on our Dragon Core, we can burst him down real nice. That's a 4,000 hit, and 2,000, really close. There we go, very nice. Thank you, DJ Cnal Pilot, for your sacrifice. We're going to go ahead and loot this guy's wreck and check out the kill mail. Very nice loot, very nice. If he hadn't engaged that Cnal on the gate right there, we wouldn't have had a chance to catch him. So just good timing and a great job of staying on top of the local callouts. All right, let's open up this kill mail and see what we ended up with. Very nice, 13.5 billion. I will take that, and I will move on to the next battle. All right, so I am out here in Meow Space over in Aquarius, and we are hunting with a new corp mate, Big Ed. Now, Big Ed is going to be in a Cnal. I'm still going to be in my Fiend, but we're looking for battleships. So we're not necessarily looking to tackle anything on gate, but we do have a Daredevil that's following us around, so we're going to have to do something about that. Now, I don't have webs or scram on this ship, so I'm a little bit weary about engaging the Daredevils, especially because they can pretty much web you at 20 kilometers and then just kite me outside of my range. And I did notice that because these gates are so close together, you can see that they have a heavy interdictor ship set up at the next gate for us to jump to. So we're kind of debating on whether we want to engage this duo, kind of taking our time and deciding. I think that Big Ed and the Cnal could probably take on that Daredevil pretty well, but I'm a little bit worried about the heavy interdictor ship and just how much defense these things have. Oh, and we have a capital drop, so that was obviously a trap. At this point, we're going to go ahead and go back and see if we can create some space between us and that capital ship. A couple of gates, see if we can draw them towards us, the faster ships. Let's open up star maps here and plan our escape route. We're going to go back up the pipe that we came from. See if we can create some space here. That Nidhogger, I believe it was, is going to take a little bit of time to catch up to us with its warp. So we're really trying to draw the Daredevil and the heavy interdictor ship to us so that we can kill them, have enough time to kill them before the capital ship arrives. Nothing in this space. Looks like all the gates are clear. So we'll go ahead and warp. We do have names populating. They look like similar names, so we probably have successfully drawn them towards us. But we are going to need a little bit more space. We don't need that capital ship dropping on us when we engage these guys. Okay, I think this should be enough space that we can catch that Daredevil on the next gate if we can get there and set up the bubble before he warps. If we set up the bubble after he warps, he's going to go right through and jump through as if he's chasing us. And I don't remember which name it was that was the Daredevil, so we'll go ahead and try and plan this out, see if we can trap him on this gate and burst him down before his friends come. So here we see the two grays here. I know both of those are not the capital ship. I don't know if Lifebreaker is the capital ship or not. But we'll go ahead and set up our bubble, see if we can catch somebody warping in. If we got it up in time. Let's sit here for a little bit. We do have the frigate coming. Here comes the Daredevil. But he is going to go right through my bubble. So we didn't get that bubble up in time. He's going to jump through. He's too close to the gate. Yeah. He's not going to engage us. So this isn't a good spot to try and fight them. I'm going to turn my bubble off since the cycle's almost over. We'll have to wait out the crime timer, which is unfortunate, but at least we know we're right next to the gate. So we should have no problem warping through if they do engage us. Big Ed's going to warp through, get a head start, see if he can take on that Daredevil on the other side. I'm still waiting for people to drop. Nope, looks like the Daredevil is coming back my way, so I'm going to go ahead and jump through. 3, 2, 1. Crime timer's up. Let's jump through. See if he's caught the Daredevil. Let's try to get some more distance, see if we can set that up a little bit better next time. We will continue to go up the pipe back towards Delve. Go ahead and hit fleet warp, so we'll stick together. So yep, same names coming into local. They are definitely chasing us. We could have an engagement coming up on this gate if I can get my bubble up on time. And this is a surprise. Okay, somebody else has set up another bubble, must have been a small ship, and so we are all getting stuck right here together. We have a Cnal right on top of us. Let's go ahead and lock that up, get to our optimal and engage. I don't have a web and I don't have a scram, so this is going to be, we're really going to have to burst this down before he tackles us. Luckily, it doesn't seem like he's going after me. He's going after Big Ed, so he should be able to handle his own here. I think naturally he's just targeting the softer enemy, so he's going after Big Ed. And we have the Daredevil. Daredevil's warping on us. I do not like to fight Daredevils in open space, but we don't have a choice here. Let's continue to pound on this Cnal. If we can get off a couple lucky shots on this Daredevil, I think we can either scare him away or burst him down. So let me switch over real quick and get to my optimal. See if we can get some straight shots on him. That's a nice shot. Over half shield. Let's keep going. Still in range. That's not too bad. We are into armor, but it looks like he's going to pull away. He's disengaging here, so we're going to switch back over to the Cnal. Try to maintain our approach. We do want to approach and not orbit. Orbit would be for defense. Approach would be for offense, because we want to be in a straight line for our lasers to track. So if the Cnal has a DCU, it's probably down by now. His extender is up. We're going to go ahead and double team this and burst him down. Very nice. Okay, let's switch over to the Daredevil here. Get in range. Oh, and Big Ed takes him out in one shot. So that was an excellent little 2 versus 2 there. I didn't expect that bubble to be that far off the gate, and this is a very vulnerable position. So we're going to go ahead and loot these wrecks absolutely as fast as we can, because we do know that ships are still coming behind us. Okay, yeah, good fight. Xenomorph in local. Sorry I didn't type it, but we're a little bit stressed right now. Okay, yeah, we have the Hictor landing. Let's pick up this loot. My instinct here is to get distance away from this thing, because I know he's going to try and trap us. I know this is coming, so we'll see if we can engage it. We'll see if we can pop him real quick before the other ship arrives, but honestly, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. And he does have a chance right there. He could have webbed me and got on top of me. He was within 10 kilometers, but it looks like he's still going after the softer target. I personally would have gone after the more expensive ship, but that was his choice, and I'm thankful for that. So we'll continue this fight. He did pop his extender, so he is trying to buy some time. We're not going to be able to burst this thing down, and I don't know how much health Big Ed is at. I don't know how much he has left, but he is definitely right on top of him. So he is webbed. He is stuck there. He's not going anywhere. I am able to hit my approach on him. We'll come back, and we'll see if we can help or not. Nope. There it is. That's the trap. The heavy interdictor ship has Big Ed trapped. We're going to go ahead and warp off. I don't think he can get away here. I am outside of the bubble's range, so I'm going to take off, but I'm sorry, Big Ed. Yeah, I can't help you at that point. There he goes. We got away. Sorry, Big Ed, for the loss, but it was a nice 2 versus 2 that we were able to engage in, and I appreciate the content from the other pilots as well. Let's get to a safe place real quick, and we will pull up that kill mail and see what we ended up with. Okay, so let's open up this kill mail here. We did get the Cnal kill. Very nice. Let's go ahead and take a picture and save that, share with the Alliance. A little bit more damage than Big Ed, so I'm happy with that. And we got the final blow. So let's get to a little bit of a safe spot, and we will pull up Big Ed's kill. I believe he did the final shot on the Daredevil as well, so we'll pull that up just because as a thank you for him helping me out. I want to show off his kill mail. There we go. Not bad. 582. Good job, Big Ed. We will save that and share it with others. On to the next fight. Okay, so we've changed up our fit a little bit, and we've changed up our tactics as well. We're going to go with a large extender because I have a level 10 extender GU, a scrambler, and a web in the mid slot. So we're not hunting down battleships, we're not scanning down targets. All I'm doing is trolling, which is a fishing term, trolling through space and hoping that somebody catches up to me. This Dragon Chant Nanocore is going to be very good for fighting on gates, so I wanted to try out that tactic. The only problem is that it relies on you kind of putting yourself out there and hoping someone chases you and hoping that it's not in a big ship. So it's a little bit more of a waiting game, but at the same time, we can possibly get some more content and we can try and take on some 2 versus 1 situations. Okay, so I did notice there was one player following me. I believe his name was Time Traveler. So we're going to go ahead and set up on this gate and see if we can trap him on the other side around 13 to 15 kilometers away from the away from the gate. Hopefully we can burst him down in time. I don't know what ship he's in. Possibly something small. If it is something big, we can just disengage and kind of pop our defensive mode and come back, but we'll check it out. Let's activate that afterburner before he comes up onto grid, so we are ready to approach. Shouldn't cost too much capacitor. And we got another one in local, send newts. Taking his time here, taking his time to come through this gate. Probably sees my bubble and doesn't want to break his cloak yet, but he could be waiting for help as well. Okay, here we go. Here's a cruiser, Celestis Interdictor. Let's take this fight. I am more than happy with a 1 versus 1 interdictor. Okay, we got our scram, got our web on him. We will pop our heat sink to try and get some advantage. And we have a daredevil. I do not like seeing daredevils. They will web me and get around that 22 kilometer range and not be able to not have me hit them, so not liking that. And this Celestis is a little bit underneath our guns. We don't want things to be underneath 10 kilometers because as you can see, our DPS is going to fall off dramatically. Our optimal is about 16 with a 6 to 7 fall off, so anything under 10 is going to be really hard to hit things properly, even if I'm approaching. So we are doing some decent damage. I would like to see a little bit more. I also don't want to get too far away from the gate because I don't want that daredevil to pin me down where I can't get back. And an Astero is going to join in. Okay, we got a 3 versus 1 here. All right, this is what I planned for. This is what I wanted. I wanted a fight with small ships, so let's go ahead and see if we can pop on that Dragon Chant Nanocore, break their locks. We're going to get our range here. We're going to pull away 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers. Very nice. That's right in our optimal. You can see our DPS going up. Come on, a couple more hits. That's a nice hit. He is repping. I think it's too late for Time Traveler. Okay, that's one, but let's switch over to these other ships before they get out of range. Let's see if we can lock them down with a scram. 18 kilometers, a little bit too far out of range. Oh, nice hit. Shield's gone, but just out of range. And even though we have our bubble up, they are going to be able to move away. Let's switch over to the Daredevil because he is within our fall off. See if we can catch up to him before he adjusts. I don't have the Dragon Chant anymore, and I am webbed. So we do get a nice hit off on him there. And one more. But he looks like he's going to pull away as well. So since he has us double webbed and we can't web him back, he's just going to pull his distance. And it doesn't look like they want to continue this fight, which is probably the smart move because I haven't even used my extender yet. My large extender is sitting there unused. I'm over 65% capacitor, so I would gladly take the rest of this fight, but I don't think they want to engage anymore. Okay, so we'll just casually switch this over to loot. Go ahead and grab Time Traveler's loot before they decide they want to re-engage. It's right next to the gate. That's perfect. And we'll call our drone back, turn off our guns to save some capacitor. Oh, that's not very much, but that's okay. And I'm actually going to warp to a planet since we have range on this Daredevil. So very nice fight, and I think that I will try this fitting a little bit more. Okay, so we logged out up in red space, up in Declan last night, and so we're going to go ahead and log in here and see if we can catch something unaware and not ready for us. I don't do this very often, but I did run out of time the night before, and it was a dead system, so we're going to go ahead and jump in here. We do have 14 people in local, so very highly populated compared to the night before. Once we finish warping, we'll go ahead and hit our scan and see if we can catch anything off guard. Okay, 10 signals in the area. Let's go ahead and open this up. We have one on anomaly, one on an asteroid belt. I'm going to go for the asteroid belt. We are going to check this out, see if we can get something big and something quick, because there is a lot of people in local here. And an orca. Okay, perfect. This is what I wanted. I wanted an orca. They've always escaped me because of the warp's ability, but we do have a bubble on this ship, so we're going to go ahead and try and take this on. A little bit worried because this fight is going to take a while. Orcas usually are very defensive. We'll set up our escape point here, bookmark, into space, and we'll have it ready on autopilot just in case. But we should be able to warp in here, before he can warp off and set up our bubble. If you've watched any of my last videos, you know I am desperately on the hunt to get my first orca kill. Okay, not on the scanner, but we'll go ahead and try our trick here. Open up our scan that we had on him. He might be cloaked. Let's approach. Double click just in case. And we'll turn on our afterburner to try and get close, and we'll see if we can pop him out of stealth. There we go. Turn on the bubble just in case he uncloaks and warps away. We don't want that to happen. There he is. Perfect. Okay, let's jump on him right here. He was cloaked up, and our cloaking trick did work. Okay, so we have him in our bubble. He cannot warp away. Now we just have to burst him down and hope that help can't come. We're going to go ahead and approach and not orbit because we want to do as much damage as possible. Set it to 15, right in our optimal, about 15, 16. And we'll activate our heat sink just to try and DPS as much as we can. Oh boy, orcas are defensive, so this is not good. He might have a DCU active, so it might ramp up over time. Plus our implant might ramp up over time, but man, these things are just way too tough. Really wish I had that other laser implant to see if we can burst him down faster. At least to get rid of his shields. Once we get through the shields, because orcas are usually shield tanked, we should be in much better position. Yeah, no, turn that back on. I don't know why that happened. Okay, we are wearing him down. And doesn't look like anybody's warping in yet, so we might be able to burst him down before anybody wakes up. Let's keep going. I'm not worried about any NOS or Newt or drones that might come out of this ship, even though he does have me red locked. I don't think it's going to be too much of a big deal. He's not going to be able to out DPS me with his drones. And I'm very certain that this is not a combat ship because it was cloaked. Okay, we got a warp in here. And looks like a scorpion. Okay, I'm wondering if we can just continue to hit this orca while orbiting the scorpion to reduce its damage. We want to stay outside of the scram and web range of the scorpion because I don't think the orca has those on him anyway. So as long as he can't lock us down, we should be able to still hit this orca and be inside of our bubble. I spent a lot of time warping away when I get into 2 versus 1, so I really want to try and push for this one. Really need that orca kill. Yep. I don't know what's going on with my NOS. Okay, there we go. Got it activated on the battleship. That's a better target. We're still plucking away at this orca. Scorpion's not really able to damage us. I'm not too worried about the DPS there. It does have a neutralizer on us. Now we are webbed and scrammed. That is not good. We do not want to take... Okay, nope, that's not good. We've got a frigate warping in. I think it's time that we bail. Not sure if we can. Let's turn on our shield. Let's turn on our afterburner. Let's try and break this tackle. Maybe if we can get into an approach. Oh, God. Okay. All right, guys. Calm down. Okay, calm down. That's not necessary. All right, I get it. I get it. I could try and put an approach on this condor and see if we can snipe it real quick. But he's probably orbiting outside of the range anyway. I'm not webbed anymore. We could break free, but I think there's just too many faster ships on grid. Yeah, he's got the scram back on me and webs, so yeah, we're just toast here. Well, serves me right for not disengaging when the scorpion warped in. I got a little bit overconfident. Really wanted to try and hang on to that orca, but good job to these guys for coming through when their ally was tackled. And I think I'm going to go back and change up my fitting a little bit and go more to that gate-to-gate combat. So if you like the video, leave me a like. If you want to see more of my content, go ahead and hit subscribe and ring that bell, as they say. Until then, I'm going to rebuild. Thanks for watching.